The profound impact of prolonged social isolation. Spending time alone is not inherently harmful. In fact, moments of peaceful solitude can be deeply restorative, helping us reset and recover from daily stress. But when aloneness is forced, extended, and devoid of purpose or human connection, it takes a much darker turn, impacting not just our emotions, but our physical brain structure and overall health. This article explores what really happens to your brain and body during prolonged social isolation, drawing insights from the video by psychiatrist Terry Kupers. The body's initial reaction. Stress takes over. When someone is forced into isolation, especially in a confined space without meaningful interaction or activity, the body reacts immediately. Stress hormones, especially cortisol, surge early on. These hormones are designed for short-term survival, but when isolation stretches on for days, weeks, or months, the stress becomes chronic. Chronic stress doesn't just affect your mood, it begins to wear down bodily systems, from the immune system to digestion, and increases your risk for anxiety, depression, and cardiovascular problems. The psychological core. Social reality testing and identity erosion. Humans rely on social interaction for something known as social reality testing. This is the brain's way of checking if our thoughts and emotions are reasonable by comparing them with the feedback of others. In isolation, this essential mirror disappears. There's no one to challenge irrational fears or reinforce your sense of self. As a result, loss of identity. People begin to lose their sense of identity and grip on reality. Obsessive thoughts. Their thoughts often spiral into obsessions or intrusive patterns. Impulse control. Impulses may become harder to control. Severe mental distress. The absence of grounding communication can lead to hallucinations, delusions, and suicidal ideation. Brain structure physically changes. Neuroscientific studies show that long-term isolation causes tangible damage to the brain. The limbic system, especially the amygdala, which processes fear, becomes hyperactive. This creates a state of constant agitation and overreaction. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, moral judgment, and decision-making, shrinks. This impairs memory, focus, and emotional regulation. Physical symptoms. Time distortion, sleep loss, and body breakdown. Isolation affects more than the brain. People often, time distortion, lose track of time due to lack of external cues. Sleep loss, suffer from insomnia or disordered sleep cycles. Physical discomfort, experience heart palpitations, dizziness, headaches, and hypersensitivity to sound or light. Digestive issues, struggle with digestive problems and appetite loss, which can result in unhealthy weight loss. These physical symptoms reinforce mental distress, creating a feedback loop of physical and emotional breakdown. Coping in solitude. Can routine help? While some individuals try to manage isolation through routines, like reading, writing, exercising, or meditation, these methods offer limited relief. They may slow the deterioration, but they can't fully substitute for the nourishment of human connection. This is why many health experts and the United Nations classify prolonged forced isolation as a form of psychological torture, especially when applied under restrictive, inescapable conditions like solitary confinement in prison. Solitary confinement. The dark reality in prisons. The most extreme form of isolation occurs in prison through solitary confinement, also known as restrictive housing. In the U.S. alone, over 120,000 prisoners in 2019 were locked in solitary for 22 to 24 hours a day, in cells no larger than a parking space. Originally introduced by Quaker groups in the 1700s to inspire repentance, solitary confinement quickly became a tool of control rather than reform. By the 1980s, its use surged again in response to prison overcrowding and rising unrest. But many prisoners are placed in solitary for minor infractions, and many already suffer from mental health disorders, which solitary only worsens. Long-term consequences: PTSD, paranoia, and reintegration struggles. After experiencing solitary confinement, individuals often emerge with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, at rates 3 times higher than the general prison population. Persistent anxiety and paranoia and personality changes, difficulty reintegrating, difficulty connecting with others and adjusting to life outside the cell. In essence, solitary confinement often destroys the very faculties necessary for rehabilitation and reintegration into society. A better way. The Norwegian model. In stark contrast, countries like Norway prioritize humane treatment and rehabilitation. Fewer imprisoned. Fewer people are imprisoned per capita. Investment in rehabilitation. The government invests 5 times more per prisoner in education, therapy, and reintegration programs. Low recidivism. Norway has one of the lowest recidivism rates globally, proving that people thrive better through connection, not isolation. Conclusion. We heal together, not alone. Isolation, when chosen, can be a source of peace. But when imposed, especially over long periods, it becomes a profound psychological threat. The human brain, wired for connection and cooperation, withers in the absence of social interaction. Whether it's a prisoner in solitary confinement or a person locked in prolonged social withdrawal, the damage is not just emotional, it's structural, neurological, and often irreversible. The ultimate lesson? We are not meant to heal, grow, or exist alone. We get better together.